That's a neat effect, right? Yep, today we're doing animated maps. Welcome back to the channel, my friends. This is Creator Reality, and I want to share with you how I created this opening effect that we just saw. It's really fun. It's really a cool way to show how you're traversing the landscape or whatever, and it doesn't take anything but the free stuff in Davinci Resolve. So let's hop right into it. And here we are in the edit page of Davinci Resolve. I've got my PNG. It's a generic map of the United States. We're going to go from Las Vegas to Washington, D.C. Ooh, the nation's capital. Anyway, first thing I did was set the length of the clip. It's 10 seconds. That's a good starting point. And we're going to right click and say New Fusion Clip. Then we're going to right click on our clip and go into the Fusion page. So here we are in the Fusion page. First thing we want to do is drag in a background node. And then we want to drag in the Polygon node. Connect your output from the Polygon to the input of the background, and then connect the output of the background one to the output of media in one, which creates a merge. Now, this is going to be our start, so we're going to press F2 and rename this to start, and our Polygon is here. We want to control mouse wheel zoom in. We want to start right above Las Vegas, so we're going to click right about there, and then control mouse wheel to zoom out, and we're going to click our mouse button to draw points, eventually ending up in Washington. And since we can't see it well, we're going to control mouse wheel zoom in and click right above Washington. That's our end point. Now our Polygon is set up and our first background is set up. And we want to change the background to red because that's going to be our start point. And now we're going to select the Polygon and the background, Control C to copy, click in blank space, Control V to paste, click in blank space, Control V to paste, move it up. Now we want to create the merges. So we'll do the output to the output of the last merge. And then we can rename these to end. And we're going to rename this one to line. We can change the background on this one to blue because we want our line to be blue. You can pick whatever color you want. It's your effect. We're going to use green for the end. And now with Polygon 1 selected, make sure we're on frame 20. And we want to change the border width to 0.025. It made the whole line red. Well, that's not good. So we change our length all the way down to 0. Boop, done. Now we control mouse wheel zoom in again. We want to set up our end. So we're going to drag over to Washington, and then we're going to make sure Polygon 1.1 is selected. And then when I bring the border width up to 0.025 again, because that's the size of our endpoint, the whole line is selected. So we're going to go to position and change it to 1. So now we have an endpoint. Yay, look at us. Now for our line, we're going to animate that. So we're going to start on frame 20, and we're going to just come over to the start of it again. And we're going to change our border width to 0.01. And that creates a line. If I zoom out, you can see the whole line is there. But we're going to start on frame 20, and we're going to click to keyframe our length. And we're going to bring it all the way back to 0. And then we're going to go to frame 250, and we're going to drag our length all the way up to 1. So it's going to draw across from frame 20 to frame 250. Now let's do our start point at frame 20. This is how we want it to be with the border width. So we're going to click on the keyframe icon. We're going to come back about 5 frames. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. And then we're going to come back to frame 1 and make it 0. Now, if we scrub through here, it's going to get bigger and start off. Okay, so that's the start point. For our line, we actually want to start it at 0. So at frame 15, we want to start bringing this up. So we're going to click over to frame 15, and we're going to bring our border width down to 0 and click keyframe. And the magic happens on frame 20. So we're going to double click there and type in 0.01 there. So now it'll build over the 5 frames, and then it'll start animating. So that's our start point. And then we'll go all the way towards the end, and we're going to stop at frame 240. And this is where we want our endpoint to come in. So now let's come to frame 230 for our endpoint. You can see it's drawn, but we want it to be 0. So we're going to double click on border width, type 0. Then we're going to click the keyframe icon. And then at frame 240, we want to double click on it and type in 0.025, and that gives us our endpoint. And you can actually go to frame 236 or so and bring it all the way up to about there. That'll make it bigger, and then it'll get smaller again. And now if we go back to frame 210, as the line draws on, our endpoint gets bigger and comes into place. So if we zoom all the way out to fit, you can see that this plays through and it goes all the way to the end, and then boom, it lands right there. Now it's missing something, isn't it? So we're going to go to about frame 90 and control mouse wheel to zoom in, and we want to move all these guys up one because we're going to add something to the line. So we're going to click on line, shift spacebar, and we're going to type in drop. Then we're going to select drop shadow, click add, and then, ooh, that doesn't look great, right? So we're going to bump shadow strength all the way up, bring our drop distance down quite a bit, and then bring the blur all the way down to about there, 0.25, give or take. Now we can adjust the shadow strength a little bit and our distance. Yeah, this is kind of personal preference, but I think that looks good right about there. There we go. And we're going to make sure drop shadow is selected and press Control C. Then we click on empty space, Control V, and we're going to hold shift and drag it onto our first line, and then click an empty space again and do the same thing for our endpoint. So now we have a drop shadow. And if we go all the way back, the drop shadow starts with the dot and then boop and do. Okay, so now we've got our animation. We can select all this stuff and move it over 2 spots. We want to drag a text node in because this is going to be our start text. So we're going to type in start and pick a font. I like impact. And then we're going to go to shading, click on the number 3. This is our black shadow, enabled. Wait, we don't see it anywhere. Well, we're going to drag the output of text to the output of media in 1, which creates another merge. And now you can see start. When I control zoom in, start is right there. Well, we want to zoom out a little bit and just drag this bad boy all the way over to here. And it's going to stay right there the whole time. And then we want to move this around for clarity's sake. Control C on text 1, click in blank space, Control V, and we're going to type in end because that's good, right? And we're going to drag down to the output of merge 4, which creates another merge and it moves things around. So if we want to stay organized, we can select all of our backgrounds and polygons, etc., and move them over. So now things are clean. We can bring this over and it all looks nice, doesn't it? Oh, doesn't that look nice and neat? Now, end is in the wrong spot. So we're going to click on our position and we're going to bring it over to right about here. And if we go to frame 260, everything's finished. We're going to bring that right there under Washington, control mouse wheel to zoom in. There it is. So that's in place. Now we go to frame 250 because we know that's where we ended things. End. And we're going to click on text 1.1 and we're going to keyframe the size. So it's 0.08. We're going to click on the keyframe to create one. And then we're going to go back about 10 frames and we're going to double click on size and press 0. Now, as the line comes in, end will come in too. And there it is. So now we can go back to the edit page and we can preview our effect. And before I play that back in full screen, are you getting any value out of this video? Boop the like button for me if you are. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments section below. Now that our render cache is done, we can go full frame and play through our animation. It might be a little bit too long, but hey, if you're doing voiceover and you're talking through it, this is a good time to time it to that. And it's done. But now we need to add the secret sauce. So let's get back into the Fusion page. So now we're back in the Fusion page. We want to move media out 2 over a little bit. Click on merge 3, shift spacebar, type in transform. And we want to select this one that doesn't have a acronym or shortcut. We're going to click on that one twice because Davinci really doesn't want you to use that. We're going to click add, and here it is. Nothing happened. So we're going to go over to control mode. We're going to drop down and say canvas. Now the real fun begins. We're going to drag this out. And again, this is just whatever floats your boat on this one. But we want to start over here like this. We're going to make it nice and big. And then if you click this center section, we can move this around. We can have it start right here. So we're at the start of the clip. We want to come over to frame 20, which is where things really start to happen. And we're actually going to wait till about frame 25. And we're going to drop down animation, click canvas keyframes. This creates a keyframe right here at frame 25. And then by the time we hit the end, so about frame 245, we want to control mouse wheel zoom out, and we want to blow this guy up so it's like this, and then a little bit shorter there, and then move it over. There we go. We want to make it even bigger, just like that. I think that looks good right there. And we've got another keyframe created. So if we go back to frame 1 and we hit play, it's going to play through and it's going to do that 3D globe effect that you saw in the intro. And it's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. So now we're back on the edit page. Our render cache is done for the new effect. Let's go full screen with this. Ta-da! Now, if you've been following along at home, you have now created an animated map. Sure, that one probably didn't match the intro one, but it's close enough. You get the idea. Now you can go and take this to the next level by just clicking on your polygon to follow the roads that you took if you're traveling somewhere, or you can make a curved line if you want to do that. You now have the building blocks to build your own animated map. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This has been fun. I have used this in a couple of videos, and now I want to use it in a lot more because it just looks really polished and really slick. So anyway, I will leave you this video to watch. If YouTube thinks you'll like it, it's on my channel, so you probably will. Boop the like button for me. Please consider subscribing, especially if this isn't your first video and you're not subscribed already. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.